Eric, can you talk to us about our approach to youth sports performance?
Yeah, absolutely. So I operate and run a youth high school sport performance program. Every athlete that comes in my door has to earn their way to the barbell, to moving heavy weights. I don't care if you're a D1 recruit coming in, a high school junior or a 10-year-old child. Everyone starts on the same baseline program. It's a full body workout that you'll go through. There's 2 different days. They'll cycle through each day 4 different times. So it's your first 8 visits that you have to come through. And essentially at the end of that, you have a testing day. And at the end of that testing, you have the opportunity to earn your way to learning how to use the barbell. You just don't jump into that. The good thing about that is, one, a lot of the movements we teach with the dumbbell and the kettlebells and bodyweight movements, they directly correlate and transfer over to the barbell. But then even at that, a lot of the barbell movements we'll teach initially are very low skill and something that's easy for them to transition from the kettlebell to the barbell. And then we continue building upon those skills. So for instance, when I have an athlete come in, everyone needs a squat, but I teach kids how to goblet squat with a dumbbell first. Once they have the sufficient requirements to move to a barbell, for all my kids, they must be able to squat full range of motion with their hips below their knees, keep balanced foot pressure, keep their feet flat, chest up, be able to track the knees properly. They need to be able to do 3 sets of 10 with a 40-pound dumbbell before I'll teach them with a 25-pound barbell how to front squat. So I basically build them up with the dumbbell first, and then we back it back down where it's even lighter with the barbell so they can work on relearning the positioning, relearning that neurological patterning. And then from there, we start building that up again. And so then I have another requirement for a kid, depending on the age, but I have requirements for kids to earn their way into a back squat. A kid may front squat for 3 years. I'm not going to load their spine or load a bar on their back until they're able to sufficiently sit well in the bottom position, chest up, all those things, because that helps ensure that, one, I'm keeping them healthy. 2, I'm emphasizing my range of motion and technique over the weight. Don't get me wrong, once you move well, I want to load you. That's how we get stronger. That's how we create more power. That's how we put more force on the ground to run faster, jump higher, all those things. But if you don't do it efficiently, your odds of getting hurt are higher. You're leaking out power in the body. There's something going wrong in the systems where you're not, even though you may stand up with the weight, you're not going to be able to optimize your body's ability to translate that to the field or the court. And so that's a lot of what we do with our kids. And then from there, it's an ongoing progression. So once they get through their first baseline sheet, they get a program that's built specifically for them. So that's also the great thing about them coming in and getting their first 8 sessions in kind of a more general setting. All of our coaches are trained in understanding how to program and adjust for an athlete. And so once an athlete gets through their baseline program, they then graduate to a program that's built specifically for them and their needs. So that doesn't mean I'm making a baseball player do a baseball program. All my athletes, I train to be athletes. I don't train them for the skills of their sport per se. I train them to be more athletic and to handle the demands of their sport. So when they go to practice, they can take the skills that I teach them and put them into play there. I think it's also important because, you may have 2 sophomore pitchers, baseball players, that have totally different needs. And so why would I run them on the same program when they have totally different needs on what's going to progress them to get better? All of them need to be able to have a lot of the same baseline principles in play, but then from there, to build upon it and really get the most out of them, we need to go slightly different routes or maybe majorly different routes. It just depends. And so that's another great thing about once you come in and spend some time working in our program, you're going to graduate to a system that's going to essentially build directly for you and what you're trying to accomplish. And so that's where I think we really stand above a lot of other people is not only do we do that, we do it in a very well-rounded effort to keep you a well-rounded athlete. So you're not getting holes in the system. I'm not working on just baseball skills. So then when I have to do something that's not baseball related or something that's more just generally athletic related on the field, I can still do it. It's not just skill oriented. And so I think that's a big thing that separates what we do compared to anywhere else around is combining those factors in.
Well, let's say I have kids 4 going on 5. I have these kids and they're already doing 2 sports, man. I'm driving all over the place. I just don't think we can have time for another thing. Plus the football coach, or the baseball coach, or the basketball coach has a strength portion of what they do. I think my bases are covered. How would you respond to that?
My first question is, how good do you want them to be? Right? That's not to say that doing something with the coach isn't okay, right? Especially on the strength side. That's better than nothing. But again, is that what we're going for? I just want results that are better than nothing, or do you want your kid to get the best results possible? You want to set them up to be the best athlete they can be. because I didn't spend the last 15 years getting 2 degrees and, 15 years in the field, traveling around the country, getting the education and coaching that I have, just to give you something that's better than what they would do not doing. We've spent, and the same thing goes to all our coaches. We've spent a lot of time working and really dialing our craft to make sure we provide the best service possible for all of our athletes. And so in doing so, you're not only going to get good results, you're going to get great results if you buy in the program, you consistently come in day to day. But again, it's how bad you want it. I was talking to my brother about this the other day, Brandon. Every sport, when you go to the next level, it's bigger, faster, stronger. I don't care what sport it is. Men's golf or women's golf, whatever. The balls are still hit harder. It's still a more mentally challenging game. It's a little bit faster paced a lot of times. Like there's just more to it, and your body needs to be able to handle those demands and keep up with that. And so, if you've got all this stuff going on, understand, I'm not saying that, you can't, that it is a huge priority, but if your goals align with that, it should be a priority, right? If I really want to get somewhere with it, then I need to make sure that this is happening, because I can tell you, everyone else that wants to do that, if they are making a priority, they're making sure they're getting their training in.
Yeah, and I think it's no slight to football coaches, baseball coaches, all the different coaches, but even if you think of the athletes that most of your kids emulate, they have usually their own strength and sports performance coach that's not the head football coach. That's not and it's not the coach that coaches 50 other different, it's a coach that literally specializes on that and customizes the training, that takes in the whole workload of that athlete through a given week and month and is rolling with it. So if you have a grueling football game on Friday night, is the programming being adjusted to accommodate your recovery, accommodate the holistic view of that athlete? And I think that if you look at some of the superstars that people want to emulate, they tend to be on the court or on the field more than the ones that aren't, which means they're staying healthier. Why are they staying healthier? Because their body's stronger. They've been tested in these different movements that don't just normally show up during a football, baseball, basketball, hockey practice. And where did that athlete go right? And they aren't injury prone, where the other. And I think that if you go back and talk to them, it's this. It's getting that early practice of, I have a coach, I listen to the coach, and this coach is here for this. And yes, your pitching coach, listen to your pitching coach about pitching and about prepping and about keeping your arm healthy and all. They know what they're talking about. Football coaches, the X's and the O's, how do you run pattern? How do you do that? Even speed work. Listen to your football. That's what they're trained on and they go to sessions for. But it's, that any one of those major programs that you want to emulate, like Bill Belichick is not the strength coach. Bill Belichick's not training all this stuff. It's it's a different sense of genius. And I think that equipping kids in a way that it meshes with their programming puts them in a much better position to do this. And they also feel good. They feel good to come back and play again, which sometimes some of the best athletes we see, a lot of these kids later on, they're already getting burned out. My love of sport is going away because I am literally playing baseball or football or basketball every single day. And I'm not playing because I want to anymore. I'm playing because people are making me do it, and it's not fun. So even for the just mix up, even to just use this as another sport to take to transition and with a different group of people, I think it'd sometimes be helpful. So Eric, when it comes to sports performance, I have my kid has a team. What do I do from here? How do I get started?
I think there's a couple routes you can do. I mean, number one, again, come in just like you would for scheduling a CrossFit assessment. Come in and talk to me or one of our sport performance coaches. I have a brother, Brandon, that coaches with us that also has the same master's degree I do. He does a lot of sport performance work with me. Come in and talk with one of us, schedule an assessment. We do assessments for our children as well, so we get some baseline numbers. But then in that baseline assessment, we are showing a lot of the basics. So when they start on that baseline program, they already still know a lot of the basics from that baseline that they've learned in that assessment that we do. From there, if it's something that you think, well, my kid's shy, I don't know how they'd work in a group where they don't know anyone, invite a couple friends, or you could do private training, or private group training. Get a couple of their friends to come in and schedule a session with, with one of our performance coaches or with myself. And, then you can go that more private route, at least for maybe a little while, till they are comfortable. They are picking up on some of the stuff. So it is a little more one-on-one. Then that allows them to transition more comfortably into the class setting. But it's just like anything else. You just got to walk in the door and set it up.
Excellent. And when Eric says set it up, one of the best ways is to go to munciecrossfit.com. Any page pops up in the bottom right corners. There's chat. Anything you type in there, I'm interested in sports performance training or weightlifting for my child. And any question you have typically goes right to Eric here, and he'll be able to answer your questions and get you scheduled at a calendar time so that you have all his attention or a coach's attention to run that through. So, thanks, Eric.